Group 5 combinational lock. This is our circuit. Up the top left we've got our keypad represented by a series of switches, and we've got the correct buttons isolated here, 6, 2 and 8, because our combination is 6, 2, 2, 8. They'd obviously be mixed in with all the rest of the keys in the physical circuit in the keypad. However, they would be electrically isolated. Beside each switch we've got a switch debound circuit, and also one common one for all of the buttons that are not involved in the correct combination. How the circuit works is that when somebody presses a button, it increments this 4029 counter here. This counts the number of buttons pressed, and then through combinational logic combined with the buttons that are actually being pressed at the time, this increments this second 4029 counter here. So the purpose of this one is essentially to count the number of correct buttons that are pressed, and it will only increment if they're pressed in the correct sequence. So in other words, if you press the correct buttons but in the wrong sequence, it will not increment. The only way to get this to count to 4 is to press 6, 2, 2, 8 in that exact sequence. If you press a fifth number, even if the first 4 are correct, and because this counter is counting, it will reset this on the fifth button that's pressed. So that would render an otherwise correct combination to be incorrect. So once the person has entered the correct number, or any number, and press enter as their attempt, the enter button is combined with the output from the counter in this combinational logic here. If it's correct, this monostable multivibrator will activate and illuminate this unlock LED. These outputs here will also clear the display and reset the counters. If the person presses enter and it's incorrect, then this third 4029 counter here will start to increment, and once that reaches 3 for the third incorrect attempt, it will activate this monostable multivibrator here, which in turn then activates the 3 bad tries LED. It also prevents the display from being cleared, and it also disables the counters. Once this times out, then when the timeout period is over, it activates this monostable multivibrator, which is a very short timeout period, and the purpose of this one is just to send a pulse up to the shift register controlling the display, which then clears it, which we want to do once the timeout period is over. We've also got an LED here for an incorrect attempt. Now this is controlled by a monostable multivibrator here, and this is only activated if it's both an incorrect attempt and not a third incorrect attempt. We've got another monostable multivibrator up here, and the purpose of this one is just to kind of regulate the propagation time, or the activation of logic, to allow for differences in propagation time. It's got a very, very short timeout, just a fraction of a second, and its output is fed into the combinational logic. And the purpose of it is just to disable the combinational logic for a fraction of a second, and that enables the circuit to reach a steady state, so for all the signals to propagate, because otherwise we found that it could happen that a person presses enter on their third incorrect attempt, and before the signal has time to propagate right through and activate the third incorrect attempt part of the circuit, the combinational logic just reads it as an incorrect attempt and not a third one, and therefore clears the display, which we don't want to do on the third incorrect attempt. The circuit is also designed so that if you hold down multiple buttons at the same time, it won't allow this counter to increment. So this counter will only increment if you press one button at a time. We've got our display up here for 7-segment display controlled by shift register 4019. This shifts in each time a button is pressed. So we can do a simulation now. Scroll over here a bit and I'll press play. So the first thing is I'm just going to press reset to make sure I'm starting from a predictable position. So I'm going to enter the correct number first of all, 6, 2, 2, 8, and press enter, and it unlocks and it clears the display, so that's perfect. I'm going to do the same again just to make sure that everything has been reset back to normal position after correct entry. 6, 2, 2, 8, and enter again, and again it unlocks, and that's fine. So we're just going to demonstrate that if we press 5 buttons, so if we press 6, sorry, I actually pressed that before the unlock timeout had happened, so press 6 again now. 2, 2, 8, and now just for argument's sake I press 8 again, and now I press enter. That's an incorrect attempt, so that's fine. Also, if I press, let's say I press the correct numbers but in the incorrect sequence. So I press 6, I'm going to press 2, now let's say I press 8, and press 2 again, and now I press enter. That's another incorrect attempt, so that seems to be operating correctly. I'm not going to do it now for the purpose of the video, but if I were to hold down, press the 3 buttons, 6, 2 and 8 together, then let them go, then press them together again and let them go, and do that 4 times, it won't operate the circuit. We've got logic in there to make sure that the second counter doesn't increment. It takes a while to do that in simulation, so I'm not actually going to do it, but that does happen. So if I make a third incorrect attempt now, just for argument's sake, I'll just press 7 and 7. That's incorrect. I'm going to make a third incorrect attempt here. So we see that 3 bad tries is illuminated and the circuit stops. So I'll just try enter the correct one now. 6, 2, 2, 8, enter. Nothing happens. The display did not show hyphens for the digits I was putting in. Reset doesn't work either. I've just tried that now. So nothing works at all once the 3 bad tries was illuminated. When it times out, we see there that it resets back to 0. We can see as well that if let's say I make 2 incorrect attempts, so I'll just press enter twice. 1, press it again, and that times out. 2. There's 2 incorrect attempts, and now if I enter the correct one, so 6, 2, 2, 8, enter. So it works, but not only that, it should have reset the number of incorrect attempts I have left back to 3. So we'll just demonstrate that. If I press enter again, it shouldn't illuminate the 3 bad tries. So there's enter, no, it's just an incorrect. I'll press enter again, just an incorrect, and on this third attempt now it should illuminate 3 bad tries again. So press enter again, and there we have 3 bad tries, and the screen is now blank because I had entered nothing. But if I start entering digits like 6, 2, etc., to nothing comes up on the display. So that's it. So those are all of the potential situations I can think of without spending too much time in video. So I think that demonstrates that the circuit is working correctly.